I had asked Sally, how many views could this get? And she said, oh, 500,000 would be amazing. And I was like, 500,000? Let me tell you. Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth Zion. I'm 19 years old, and in this video, I wanted to share with you all my experiences of how at 18 years old, I did a TED Talk that hit over 1.7 million views. So one question I get asked a lot is how I even got the opportunity to do a TED Talk. Well, in April 2021, I did a video interview for RTE, one of Ireland's premier news stations, on my experiences with homelessness. And even though I don't have social media, I was reached out to via LinkedIn from one of the members of UNICEF Ireland. And they wanted to offer me a place after watching my video on the Global Youth Advisory Board for the Global Youth and Children's Forum that was to take place that December. And so the Global Youth Advisory Board was just a group of about 25 to 30 or so young people from across the world who were invited to partake in discussions about what was affecting us as young people, so we could present this to change makers and politicians and government leaders. And so we were discussing things like poverty and homelessness and mental health and well-being and various other social issues. And so it really was such an amazing opportunity for me to be able to join together with such really amazing and inspiring young people to achieve this objective. And it already was a dream come true. But shortly after, in August, we had started the panel. We started this process in June, but in like mid-June, let's say. But around August, I got a phone call from Vivian, one of the program organizers, telling me that TED were partnering with UNICEF for this Global Youth and Children's Forum, and they wanted to do 5 talks with 5 young people. And they had read my biography and wanted me to do a talk. And I remember hearing her say that and my mind exploding. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. Of all the amazing and inspiring and such incredible young people, they wanted me to do a talk. So, yeah, as you can tell, I really still can't believe it. So I had gotten this phone call in late August, and I was put in contact with some speechwriters, Sally Khan and Neve Collum from TED conferences in New York. And they had given me the freedom to do whatever I wanted as a talk. And at the time, my family and I were about to do another visa application for my father. And I just knew that in light of that, and also in light of all the various global crises that were happening at the time that caused mass migration, family reunification was something that I wanted to raise more awareness of. Family is a bedrock of society, and children should always be with their families. It is in fact a human right, and God himself puts the solitary in families. And so I just knew that this was a topic that I needed to do my talk on. And yeah, that's basically how I decided to do my talk on family reunification. The writing process. So I started writing the talk in September, and I finished it in about, let's say mid-October. It took me about 6 weeks altogether. And I was regularly meeting with Sally and Neve about once a week to, discuss, to formulate, to edit, to draft, to do all of the things that we needed to make sure the talk was in line with TED's guidelines and whatnot. And yeah, it really was really enjoyable because it was collaborative, and I got to learn from such really amazing speechwriters and yeah, it really was such a great opportunity for me to just to develop in my own writing skills. But the writing process was just one part of the whole experience. I also had to memorize the talk. And though I wasn't asked to memorize the full talk off by heart, I chose to. It was about 1,500 words, or it was about a bit more than that actually. So it was really quite long. And I just put my heart to memorizing it. And Sally gave me this wonderful tip that I should record my talk and listen to the playback. And as I'm listening to it, I should write it out. And so I did that so many times until my arms were tired. I went through so many pages, just writing out my talk, but it was so useful, and I still use that tip whenever I have to go and give a speech or a presentation or a spoken word performance in any place. I always use that tip to help me memorize what I need to memorize. And it really was one of my greatest achievements, because I never thought I would have been able to do something like that and to put all of that information and to be able to recite it. But God is really, really good. And in this whole thing, he did exceedingly and abundantly more than I could have ever asked or thought of. And so it just really was such a wonderful experience for me, and it really helped me grow in so many areas. So we shot the video on the 2nd of November 2021 in a warehouse studio in Dublin. It took about 5 to 6 hours altogether, the whole shoot, and I remember it just being such a cold day. It was freezing, and I suppose it added to my nervousness because I just was shaking. I was really cold for the majority of the shoot actually, but also the TED team were there on Zoom, so they were also listening in, and yeah, it was really nerve-wracking. It was so nerve-wracking, but I really thank God for his grace and how he helped me to recite that whole talk off by heart for the video. And yeah, it took about 5 to 6 hours, and we had to run out of the warehouse studio so quickly because in Ireland in the wintertime it gets dark at like 4:30 and we still had to shoot some b-roll. So we went to Dollymount Beach nearby, and just as the sun was about to set, we took all the b-roll shots that we needed for the rest of the video. And it was just so significant for me because the sun was setting and there was a beautiful glow around the whole beach, and this experience was also coming to an end. It had just been wrapped up after we had finished shooting, so it really was so wonderful, and still feels so surreal to think about. But yeah. So we finished shooting the video on November 2nd, and it wasn't going to be published until December 10th as part of the program for the forum. And so from November 2nd to December 10th, I had no input in the editing process, so I had no idea what it was going to look like. I was going to watch my talk while everybody else watched it, and I was just so excited, so nervous, but I was just praying, and I just knew that God would perfect everything that concerned me. And so on the 10th of December, I watched my talk for the very first time, along with some high-level government leaders and politicians. And yeah, it definitely was such a surreal experience, but it was so amazing. And thankfully, on the 9th, the day prior, there was already some talks that had been published for the first time as well. So I got to see what my talk could possibly look like, and it filled me with so much excitement, and I really wasn't disappointed. And yeah, I will actually link the 4 other talks because they are incredible and they are amazing. So the talk was published on December 10th, 2021, and it hit 1 million views in February 2022. So just 2 months afterwards, the talk had hit 1 million views. And let me tell you, I couldn't have even dreamt. I couldn't have even dreamt of that. I had asked Sally earlier, how many views could this get? And she said, 500,000 would be amazing. And I was like, 500,000? That would be incredible. But it now stands at 1.7 million views, triple more than what we were expecting. The Bible says in Ephesians 3, chapter 20, that Ephesians chapter 3, verses 20, that the Lord is able to do exceedingly and abundantly more than we could ever ask or think. And here he was doing it. Here he was doing it. I still can't believe it. Not only just because it hit 1 million views, but because my story, being homeless and being born in direct provision, are things that I was very ashamed of. Parts of my story that I never wanted to share, never wanted to tell anybody. But God has changed it to be things that I can never stop sharing. Because I got people from all around the world, from my website, from LinkedIn, reaching out to me, telling me that my talk inspired them to continue trusting the Lord for their own family unification, that it encouraged them, that it strengthened them, that it inspired them. I couldn't believe that God can make my story into something so valuable for other people. I was so shocked, and I still am, that God can take our ashes and turn them into something beautiful. Beautiful. So beautiful. And I want to let you guys know that there is so much space in this world for you and I. This is the world that the Lord has made, and He is still moving and creating space for each and every single one of us to change the world and to share our stories with others so they can give glory to Him. And so I thank you all very much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoy it and that you can leave me any comments about any videos you'd like me to make next. I really appreciate all of your suggestions. Thank you all so much. God bless you.
I hear your sweet voice say to me, you're my child and I've set you free. I remember all you've brought me through. 'Cause you're so good, you're so good. You were so good to me. You were so good, you're so good. You were so good to me. When I slip and fall into the middle of an ocean full of broken dreams, I feel your hand reach out to me to give me what you know I need. I remember all you brought me through. Yeah, you were so good, you're so good. You were so good to me. You were so good, you're so good. You were so good to me. Yeah, through it all, you will never leave me. Through it all, you never let me drown. You're the one who picked me when all is falling down. You give me more than I could ever ask for. You give me more than I deserve. I can never measure your grace and what it's worth. Yeah, listen, 'cause you're so